All right, well, we are going to get started. So welcome to those of you who have joined us. Welcome to Engage with Digital. More specifically, again, our DIY social media marketing 5 steps to success. My name is Marco Velasquez, and I'll be introducing you shortly here to my teammate, Allison or Ali Tippit, my digital marketing specialist. She's going to be jumping on here on video in just a moment. But again, I just wanted to offer you a very, very special welcome. Thank you for taking just 30 minutes out of your day to be with us as we look at social media marketing and more specifically, how you can jumpstart your success with social, or if you're already doing something with social media, maybe be able to run up your strategy against some of the tips and the insights that we're sharing today. So first things first, wanted to very quickly just introduce who we are. If you're not familiar with who PRISM Media is, or maybe you haven't seen some of our videos or social posts, or maybe even that's why you're here. PRISM Media is a full-service creative digital marketing agency. We're based out of Phoenix, Arizona. We specialize in everything from social media marketing to web design, graphic design, video marketing, email marketing, really, and so much more. But our passion is really working with business owners, primarily small and medium-sized business owners, working with business owners to help them grow by sharing their story in a way that traditionally results in opportunities for increased engagement and converting leads. And the way we do that is through digital marketing. So that's our primary focus. And we have a wonderful roster of clients that we have the opportunity to work with. But really, in light of today and what's happening with respect to just COVID-19 and the coronavirus and the situation that we find ourselves in, Ali and I wanted to take just some time out of our day to really spend with you and take you through social media marketing, because it is the way, it is the opportunity for you to remain engaged with clients and customers, but also look for opportunities to connect with leads or prospects. We work with a number of businesses that rely on face-to-face interaction and even interactions inside of homes. And really, social media allows, because of restrictions that have been placed really across the country, social media allows you to really get inside of those walls onto electronic devices and into those social media platforms where we're going to talk about momentarily, so many of us spend our time. So before we go any deeper into our presentation, again, my name is Marco Velasquez. A very special thank you for joining us. I run the show, I run the ship that is PRISM Media. I'm the Director of Digital Marketing Communications. It's my responsibility to work with businesses really to help them create and develop their strategies for long-term success, especially in the digital space. So that said, I'm going to stop sharing my presentation for just a moment because I would love the opportunity to introduce Allison Tippit. Ali Tippit here is our digital marketing specialist. So Ali, if you could just take a second to introduce yourself.
Gladly. Thank you, Marco. Very fortunately, I've been able to be with PRISM since the very beginning. And as the digital marketing specialist, my personal focuses for PRISM Media are based entirely around social media. So I have the opportunity to really get to know our clients, our number of clients, you know, what their business is, what they do, why they do it. And I get to take that story and I get to share it to social media and make sure that we're telling their story appropriately. So it's an awesome opportunity. I get to be a part of that process from beginning to end, content creation, graphic design, scheduling the posts out, and even making sure I'm staying ahead of the curve with just trends going on with social media and making sure I'm keeping my eye out for that. So again, thank you all for being here. We're really excited to start sharing this presentation with you.
Yeah, thank you, Ali. Really appreciate it with the introduction here. And Ali is absolutely our social media guru. She is our social media czar, and she very much does oversee the entire strategy as it relates to working with our clients with social media. So all that said, let's dive in for what it is that you're here for, and that's our presentation, really speaking to DIY social media marketing. And the reason that we decided to call this webinar DIY social media marketing is because you, quite frankly, you can execute on this with your business, whether it's for-profit, nonprofit, maybe you just run the marketing for an organization. You can execute on these strategies that we're going to be sharing with you without the support or the assistance of a marketing agency like PRISM Media or really any other marketing agency if you introduce or really embrace some of these tips that we're sharing with you. Now, full disclosure, this presentation, we are going to be keeping very basic and very general in nature. So this is basically social media marketing 101. but really diving into those 5 areas that we'd encourage you to focus your efforts around to, again, either jumpstart your success or continue with maybe turning the page and growing on your social media marketing strategy. So I'll be bringing back Ali here momentarily. We are going to have some Q&A at the end of our session today. So after the 30 minutes, if you want to stick around, you're more than welcome to do so. Of course, we'll also give you our contact information if you'd like to follow up with us after today's presentation with any questions or where you want to take your social media strategy, how we can help you deliver on that. So first things first, step 1, we're going to talk about securing your platform. There's a number of platforms that exist out there with social media. Really everything from Facebook to LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok. There's a ton of platforms that exist. So we're going to talk about really helping you identify what's the right platform for you. Spoiler alert, we're going to tell every client we work with that Facebook is where they need to be first and foremost. So we'll be talking more about that in just a moment. Step 2, we're going to spend some time on optimizing your profiles. So what is it that you need to make sure that you're doing with your profile? Because ultimately, at the end of the day, your profile, your social media profile, as an extension of your website, also serves as an extension of your digital storefront. So what is it that you should be including with your profile setup? What are some of those things that you want to make sure you have spent some time around before you start regularly sharing content? The third step we'll be talking to is really finding the time to share, and not necessarily finding the time in your busy day to share, even though I'm sure we could marry it with step 3 here, but really identifying when's the best time to be sharing content with your audience, because there is a strategy there with sharing content. The 4th step we'll talk about is really creating your content. So really, what are the steps you should be taking? What type of content you should be sharing? What are some tips that if you've seen any of our videos, we often reference pro tips. What are some of those tips associated with sharing strong content that produces results? And then finally, we will talk about sharing your content. How do you do it? What are some different tools and ways, maybe independent from just sharing directly to a platform? What are some other ways that you can really set yourself up for success with sharing your content? Again, if you have any questions along the way, we will be opening up for Q&A at the end of our presentation. So we'd encourage you, please stick around if you have questions. We're happy to share, and we're happy to help you with whatever your strategy looks like. So first things first, let's dive in to securing your platform. You're going to find that throughout our deck, we'll be sharing sort of little nuggets and tidbits of information that we've gathered, different insights and different statistics. The first one we'll share with you here is 54% of social media users use social media to research products. And I think that's important to note before we dive into the how-to here. I'll share this with you that I regularly will go to Facebook, to Twitter, to YouTube, to Instagram, to LinkedIn, looking for recommendations before I actually look to hire for a service provider or even purchase a product. More recently, we were looking to, in the front of our house, we're in Phoenix, Arizona, so we spend a good amount of time out of the year sitting outside, enjoying outside weather, I'd say about 7-8 months of the year. And we were looking to put some pavers into the front yard. And before I decided to pick up the phone or go to Google, I actually just went onto Facebook and I typed pavers landscaper Gilbert. And what's interesting there is the reason I decided to go to social media before going to a Google is because I know full well that people are talking about landscapers, pavers within the Gilbert, Arizona area. And while Google will produce search results, and it's a wonderful tool that you need to explore and really search engine optimization, pay-per-click, and so forth, it's social media where I wanted to see my friends, my neighbors, my community, what experience that they have had. So when we talk about securing your platform, it's important that you determine the right platform for you. So the absolute guide or the absolute indicator in securing your platform is identifying your audience. We'll share this with you that after 15 years of operation, Facebook is still the most used social platform in the United States. In fact, according to Pew Research, 69% of individuals live on or exist on Facebook. According to Statista, 35% of US teens rate Instagram as their favorite platform, but again, 74% of individuals use Facebook. And there's a number of reasons why we use Facebook. I think primarily, of course, it's for social interaction, engagement, looking for something fun, looking for ways to connect with friends and family. But more and more, we're finding that that platform is a very useful tool to be able to share your product, your service, share your story in a way that generates results. But again, independent of Facebook, how do you figure out what your right platform is? It's all about identifying your target audience. Now, you may have heard us share this in a previous video or educational resource that we've provided through PRISM Media. And by the way, shameless plug, you can find us at chooseprism.com. But when we talk about identifying the right platform, it is about figuring out who your audience is and where they spend their time. Now, we're not going to go, again, this is more social media 101, so we're not going to go into too far specifics, but with a simple Google search, you can quickly determine what that looks like. So if you're working with an audience of 50 plus, generally speaking, Facebook is going to be your primary tool. I have some statistics here I'll share with you that usage of Twitter among US adults is lower compared to other networks. In the US, 22% of adults use Twitter compared to the 74% figure I spoke about earlier. Only 9% of US users visit LinkedIn more than once a day. 12% visit daily, and 23% visit several times a week. So there are statistics that exist. There's a resource I'll share with you. Sprout Social is a wonderful aggregator of statistics that can help identify where your users exist. It gives you a wonderful jumping off point. But I'll share this with you, that as you build out your platforms, as you build out your profiles, you'll actually find tremendous value in the reporting and statistics or analytics that each platform offers that actually will tell you who's visiting your page, what does their demographic look like, and when they're coming there. So it's a wonderful resource, but again, identifying the right platform for you. If you get nothing else from this particular part of the presentation, again, I'll share with you that with PRISM Media, every client we work with, we guarantee that they have, or we work with making sure that they have a strong Facebook presence first and foremost. So Facebook should be the absolute platform that you should be jumping on first. Second to that, we encourage businesses to embrace both Instagram and LinkedIn. And then third would be Twitter. And then there are other platforms, Snapchat, TikTok, that are gaining some momentum. But with respect to businesses like yours, we encourage Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter as those primary platforms that you should be jumping on. But again, Facebook being the primary. Now, that being said, I've just shared with you a number of different platforms that you'll want to secure your presence on. But this is something that I was talking about with Ali when we were putting together our presentation. And she actually shared this with me, and it was a wonderful insight. We'd encourage you to dedicate your energy into establishing your presence really across 1 to 2 platforms on the outset, so primarily. And the reason for that is really, it's a very, very common sense. And that's if you can really commit to a strong social media strategy, and you know that 1 to 2 platforms is all that you have to control or manage at the onset, then you're more likely to experience that success. I think of my gym routines, right? So if I'm someone that knows I need to be in the gym at least 4 to 5 days a week for 30 minutes to an hour, really establishing cardio and strength training and so forth, that can be quite overwhelming at first. But if I maybe identify 30 minutes for 3 days a week, starting there, it just gives me a better opportunity for success. So again, dedicating your energy to really 1 to 2 platforms is going to be best when it comes to securing your platform. These are a couple of examples we'll share with you that we encouraged this particular client, Arizona Care Hospice, to embrace. You'll see that the first 2 profiles that we worked with them were both Facebook and then Instagram. So on the left there, you'll see, and again, part of this is also purpose, right? So with respect to Facebook, it does a really good job as a tool of allowing you to do all kinds of things, from fun, engaging posts or commentary, to promotional efforts, to educational efforts, or connecting with community. But Facebook is a sort of a one-size-fits-all platform that allows you to do a number of things. Instagram, on the other hand, if you look to the right of your screen, really, as you can see here, it's a very, very different platform that communicates very much with the visual and with the imagery. So with Instagram, we dedicate primarily our posting to connecting on an emotional level. And we'll talk more about how to share content and create and so forth, but you can see how the different platforms, while they're both social media platforms, they connect with a very similar audience. They also both have very unique goals with securing those and really allowing those to work for your business. The next step we're going to talk about, and I want to be sensitive to time here, is step 2, and that's optimizing your profiles. One of the things that we find is that for consumers or an audience to have a positive experience with your brand on social media, you have to have your T's crossed and your I's dotted. And what that means is using high quality imagery, including your logo and cover photo. I'm going to be sharing with you a couple of examples, or at least one example here momentarily. But the number of times we've worked with clients or prospects for that matter, just doing benchmark indicators and looking at different results that have pixelated graphics or just very, very easily out of dimension graphics that really don't do themselves any favors. And remember, consider that your social media is an extension of your website, which is your digital storefront. Think curb appeal. Think curb appeal. So if you were establishing your business in a primary residence, a physical residence or a physical space, you would absolutely want to make sure that that lawn looks bright, that that lawn looks clean, that your imagery with your sign looks professional, your windows are clean. You get where I'm going here. But with respect to your profile, first and foremost, that real estate, which includes your logo and more often than not a cover photo or header, it needs to be professional. And so we'll look at some examples here in just a moment. If you're using Instagram, LinkedIn, or Facebook, make sure your page is a business page. Now, your business page offers a number of different opportunities. First and foremost, it gives you reporting and analytics where you can start to measure your success and measure your results. But more than that, and probably before that, having a business page, again, demonstrates the professionalism of your brand. There have been times where we work with clients that may have gotten into a social media space and embraced a personal page or personal profile to really share their product or share their service. It looks amateur, and the reality is that doesn't fall into the guidelines of these respective platforms. And really, at the end of the day, what we want to do is make sure that you, with your brand, not only are you consistent, but you're adhering to guidelines. It shows a level of authenticity and professionalism that you want to help build your brand and not take away from it. The next tip we'll share with you with optimizing your profiles is really creating a short and simple yet clear and engaging bio that illustrates who you are, what you do, and why you do it. Now that bio also includes a couple of other details, and that's your contact information. So let's take a look at an example here. This is an example of Choose PRISM, or I should say, yeah, it's Choose PRISM here on Facebook, but this is our Facebook page, and you're probably familiar with it. You probably found out about today's webinar by visiting our page. As you can see here at the very, very top, we've used a high quality logo. To the left there is our profile picture, a high quality cover photo that for us, we decided to use that landscape to really advertise and promote today's session and opportunity. And then as you scroll down here, you begin to see some additional information. So everything from category to username to contact information. There's our email address, our website, and then by clicking on see more on these respective categories here, you can find out a little bit more about who we are, what we do, and why we do it. It's a wonderful opportunity to maximize this real estate and making a connection with your audience and establishing your brand. At the very, very, very least, beginning to establish your brand or reinforce the brand that you've worked hard to create. The third tip we'll share with you, or step to success, is finding the time to share. Now, remember, we talked about this is not so much about finding the time in your day to share, but finding the best time on your profile or on your platform to share content. Now, we know that an average of 3 hours a day is spent on social media, on social networks and messaging. But if you've already been working on your social media marketing, we'd encourage you, take a look at the analytics, take a look at the reporting. It's very, very easy to find. In fact, on Facebook, you just click on Insights. It can give you some indicator on your traffic, on how often people are coming, and then what part of the day that they're generally coming to your profile or they're the most active on social. It's important that even if you're just getting started, again, a quick, simple Google search, and I'll be sharing with you some data that we gathered here for today's presentation, but will help you determine when is the best time to share. Why is that important? Well, it's the same reason why Super Bowl can, the Super Bowl, the annual event that the National Football League hosts, why they can command upwards of $30 million for a 30-second spot. I may have taken that number, might be a little high, but I can guarantee it's well into the several millions of dollars for a spot. It's because that's the best time for a captive audience to receive a dedicated message. Now, the same is true with your social platforms. Part of your strategy is to be sharing content when you know your content is most likely to be seen and therefore digested, with hopes that we can then convert leads or prospects to clients and customers, and then convert those customers to ambassadors of your brand. One tip we'll share with you, and again, this is another contribution by our digital marketing specialist, Ali. She shared that initially, don't post more than once a day. If you have the capacity to do so, wonderful, but we'd encourage you that at least for the first 3 months of your social media strategy, that you're only posting once a day. And the reason for that is the various algorithms on these respective platforms, and an algorithm is really just a fancy way of saying how a computer or software operates or works. But once we have a new social media platform or profile that exists in these platforms, what can happen is if you're posting multiple times a day with a brand new platform or brand new profile, what can happen is those can very easily be marked as spammy or spamish, and therefore can be flagged and not seen by as many. You might be working against your own efforts. So again, for the first quarter or 3 months of your business really existing on social, we'd encourage you to post no more than once a day, once, maybe twice a day. Now, we gathered some information here. And again, for those of you that are taking notes out there, maybe doing screenshots, we'll share with you that this presentation will be available for replay later today, in fact, through our Engage with Digital series on YouTube. So if you haven't already subscribed to that channel, simple search on YouTube, or just visiting chooseprism.com, you can click on that little YouTube button there. It'll take you to our channel. These are some best times that, according to CoSchedule, which is a very reputable subject matter expert in the industry when it comes to posting frequency and so forth on these social platforms, these are some best times that they found, depending on your goals, depending on your industry and who you're trying to connect with. So the majority of you, I'm guessing, are on that top row there, that B2C, so business to customer or business to client. These are some of the best times to be posting across some of the more popular platforms. The next step we want to make sure that we highlight is creating your content. So that's step 4, creating your content. This is something that we here with PRISM Media, this is also something that we very much specialize in with our team of graphic artists and professionals. Nearly 50% of companies, as you can see there on the lower right, have content marketing strategies. And really, this is what we're talking about, is strategy. What type of content you should be sharing. So we'd encourage you, and by the way, for those of you that have registered and attended, we will be giving away a free gift at the end of this webinar. I'll very quick spoiler, it's consistent with this 1 month's worth of content, but we'd encourage you that as part of your strategy, rather than trying to post every single day on the fly, do your best to create a month's worth of social content. By creating a month's worth of content, you can then load that content into any number of platforms and automatically push content. In fact, that's how we work here with PRISM Media. We have a team of specialists where they're constantly in, which Ali leads, that posts content, but posts to a scheduling tool. She's already prepared that content well in advance. We'd also encourage you to rotate different types of content. So there's any number of different pieces of content. We tend to bucket our content into several different categories. So therefore we can have a very diverse showing when it comes to social media, but different content includes engaging, promotional, educational types, community-related events, recruitment type posts and sharing. I'll give you some illustrations of what those look like in just a moment. And then finally, create engaging graphics to accompany your goals. Graphics are very important, as for the majority of social media users, they're more inclined to stop when they're scrolling through social media platforms when they see a high quality or compelling visual or graphic. These are some examples of different graphics that we've used, or different ways that we've communicated through social platforms with clients that we've worked with. You'll see there on the left an educational post that we shared with Nurses Network by Quality Home Health. This is something where, again, we were working with them to really just educate their community on some of the ways to look at diabetes risk testing. The middle there, we have engaging. This is one of our more popular posts that we share Monday, and just a wonderful resource by John Krasinski from The Office. He does this show that we share, and again, sort of engaging or fun content. On the right, there's more promotional. So an opportunity to, again, further share your story. Different ways, different ideas for creating content within your space. The last step is sharing your content. Now, I already sort of alluded to the fact that there are a number of different ways and platforms to share your content. Now, each respective platform generally has a scheduling tool built within, but we here at PRISM, we use a number of different tools, everything from Hootsuite to Social Pilot to Buffer. There are a number of different tools, that some being free, others having a monthly cost, where you can actually load in your content. But we'd encourage you, whether you're using a native scheduler or a third-party tool, we'd encourage you to determine and commit to your scheduling plan. Now, every client that we work with, we encourage them to post a minimum of 3 times per week. It's that engaging commentary, those engaging posts to make sure that you're part of the conversation and you're showing some interest in sharing your brand. Determine and commit to your scheduling plan. Consider scheduling your posts with a scheduling tool. I mentioned a few tools: Hootsuite, Social Pilot, Buffer. There's a number of platforms that exist out there. And the good news is that if you choose to work with PRISM Media, we have that covered for you. That's sharing your content. Now, I know we only have a few minutes left, so those are the 5 steps to really establishing or DIY with your social media marketing and setting you up for success. Very, very quick plug before we talk about the free gift that we're offering all registered attendees for today's session. Again, we specialize in creating engaging social media content, and we have a number of different ways or tools, programs, and different selections that you can take advantage of should you want to work with PRISM Media and our team of specialists to really help you own your social marketing strategy. We offer everything from full service and comprehensive, where you don't have to do a thing, to just working with you to give you some ideas and strategize and brainstorm. There's a number of different platforms and different ways that we can work together. So we'd encourage you to visit chooseprism.com to schedule a free, no obligation consultation, 30 minutes with me and my team, where we can talk about your social media and how we can best help you capitalize on this wonderful platform to share your story. Finally, I think we have about 1 minute left. Here's our gift from you, for you. Again, a very, very special thank you for joining us for today's session. About 30 minutes where we sort of went through very, very quickly the 5 steps for success. We are, again, going to be making this available through replay on our Engage with Digital YouTube series. But we are offering, for those of you who joined and registered for today's session, a custom social media calendar. So as a thank you, our team of social media specialists are committing to creating a free social media calendar for you to share with your audience in June 2020. That calendar will include 20 social media posts that include copy, engaging graphics, and custom hashtags for your business. All you have to do is copy and paste into either your social media platform or your scheduling tool, whatever you want to do. But we're going to give you 20 posts to help you jumpstart that social media strategy. Again, only for those of you who registered and attended today's session. To take advantage of this offer, please email us, create@chooseprism.com, and mention today's special promotion, PRISM Partner. We'll get together so we can get a little bit of information about your business. We get a little information about what type of strategy you'd like to embrace. No obligation, free calendar sent to you for the month of June. Can't beat it. So it does expire. It says on May 2020. It's actually May 5th. May 5th, 2020, this offer expires. So think about it. We'd encourage you, again, no obligation whatsoever. Let us know. We'd be happy to work with you and provide you with a free 30-day calendar with 20 social media posts. So with that said, we are going to open it up for some Q&A and see if there's any questions that might exist right now. I'm not seeing any in the queue, but it looks like, let's see, I'm not seeing any hands. If you do have a question, you should be able to raise your hand within the webinar, within Zoom, or you can provide your question within the Q&A there at the bottom of your screen. Let's leave it for a couple of seconds here. All right. And I'm not seeing any questions come in. So I'm going to stop my presentation here just a moment, and I am going to invite Ali to share if there's any other insights that she'd like to add to our presentation today, or anything else that she'd like to share before we officially wrap up. So Ali, is there anything you'd like to share as our digital marketing specialist? Anything I may have missed or you'd like to add, even as it relates to the free gift offer or anything like that?
Awesome. Thank you, Marco. Not a whole lot to add other than I think there were a lot of really good points where you just hit the nail on the head. I couldn't agree more when you spoke to Facebook. The way I see Facebook is it ticks all the boxes that you need. So it's a really, really strong starting point. So I agree with that wholeheartedly. And then, there's a lot of really good tips in here, making sure that you're not overwhelming yourself. That's probably the biggest thing walking into social media marketing and trying to build out your strategy. It's easy to get overwhelmed and try to take on everything at once, which is why we encourage you to just start with 1 to 2 platforms and keep it to maximum 1 post a day and build from there. As you start sharing content, it will get easier, it will get more natural. It's never too late to start with your social media strategy. That's the awesome thing about social media, is it's been around for a couple of years now, but it's never too late to jump on this and start marketing your business there.
Absolutely. 100%, Ali. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, again, thank you all for joining us for today's session. Thank you for taking the time out of your day. We hope you find value with this. Again, visit us at chooseprism.com. If you have any additional questions or you'd like to see some additional resources, we have our Engage with Digital series on there, some video series, some different videos and resources speaking to COVID-19 and the coronavirus, how you can really strengthen your digital marketing strategy. We're here for you. And thank you again for joining us. On behalf of Ali and myself, thank you again for choosing PRISM. Have a great rest of the day.